Good morning, students. In the last class we discussed 2 marks questions on constructors and destructors. In today's class, let us learn about 5 mark questions. The first question is, what is constructor? Explain with syntax and example. With syntax and example. See, for this you need to write the definition. We have already discussed. Okay. Then syntax. Example, so you have to write the program, don't write only the code, you must write program. I'll write only program. Class point int x comma y public point x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0, void disp, open flat bracket, cout x comma y, class close, void main. We have to create object point p, default constructor will be executed, p dot disp. This is the program you need to write for this question. Definition 1 mark, syntax 1 mark, and 3 marks for example. Next, second question. Mention the types of constructor and explain any 2 of them. Mention the types of constructor and explain any 2. So what are the different types of constructors? A default constructor, parameterized constructor, and copy constructor. Okay. Now, any 2 of these 3 you need to explain. I'll explain default and parameterized constructor. Default constructor same as general constructor definition, constructor example, but while writing definition for default, it is a constructor, it does not take any argument, you need to write the definition. For these 2, definition, syntax and example you need to write. You can, I'll write the example here. Hash include iostream, hash include conio.h, class point, one flat bracket. While writing class, you have to make sure it is a data type, you should not write the open close parenthesis. In the private section, I'll take 2 integers, int x, y, public. I'm going to show both constructors in the same program. Point, open close, x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 0. So this is a default constructor. I'm not writing separate program of a default and parameterized constructor. I'm writing both constructors in a single program. Int a, int b, x is equal to a and y is equal to b. void disp Cout insertion X, comma, Y, class close, void main, point P1 I'll take, point P2 of 5 comma 4. So which constructor will execute here? Default constructor will execute. This is a parameterized constructor. So when this object creation, which constructor will execute? Parameterized constructor will execute. You must write this is a parameterized constructor. Here also parameterized constructor definition, and this is default constructor definition. See what you have to write here. Default constructor, it is a constructor, it doesn't take any argument, is called default constructor. And syntax same as general syntax of that constructor. Example, after that parameterized constructor you have to write definition, it takes one or more arguments. Syntax, after that example, in this example you must mention this is a default constructor invocation and it is parameterized constructor invocation. You must write this. Understood? Next question. What are the different methods of invoking parameterized constructor? Third question. What are the different methods of invoking parameterized constructor? Explain with an example. Here they did not mention the particular method. There are three methods. What is that? Implicit method, explicit method, and using assignment operator. Initialization using assignment operator. These three are the methods of invoking parameterized constructor. In the same question they have asked all these three. Explain means they did not mention particular, so you must write all the methods. How to write? I'll show you. The first thing, implicit call. Implicit call. The declaration of object. The declaration of object is followed by assignment operator, followed by list of arguments enclosed in parenthesis, and terminated by semicolon. Understood? So syntax, how to write the syntax? Declaration of object, class name, object name, open parenthesis, argument 1, argument 2, dot, semicolon. This is implicit call. Example, point P1 of 5, 4. Like this you have to write. And next, explicit call. How to write? Declaration of object is followed by assignment operator and constructor name, a list of arguments enclosed in a parenthesis, terminated by semicolon. The declaration of object is followed by Declaration of object is followed by assignment operator, constructor name, constructor, and list of arguments enclosed in parenthesis and terminated by semicolon. Syntax. So the declaration of object, how to declare object? Class name, point P1, okay, is equal to assignment operator, constructor means point, open parenthesis, list of arguments 5, 4, semicolon. Sorry, this is syntax, no? I should not write like this. I had given example there. Class name, point is a class name, P1 is an object name is equal to class name, open parenthesis, argument 1, argument 2, dot, semicolon. Example, point P is equal to point 5, 4, semicolon. And another thing, initialization method. If all three asked in a single program, single question, same question, you must write this much. Initialization using assignment operator. What is the definition? Declaration of object followed by assignment operator and value terminated by semicolon. Declaration of object is followed by assignment operator and value which is terminated by semicolon. Now, syntax. Class name, object name is equal to value, semicolon. This is the syntax. Example, point P is equal to 4, semicolon. This method is applicable only if you are going to pass one argument, then only it applicable. Otherwise, if you want to pass two arguments, implicit and explicit method are used. Next question. Explain constructor overloading. Explain constructor overloading with syntax sorry, no syntax yet, with an example. Constructor overloading with an example. So first you need to write the definition. If a class having 2 or more constructors, definition already we discussed in a 2 mark. Okay. A class having 2 or more constructors with different number of arguments or type of arguments or order of arguments, then it is called constructor overloading. So example I will write here. For the exam point of view, I have given a simple programs. Typical programs I had already explained while doing the chapter concept. So when they ask for 5 mark how to write for you people, I'll make easy. I have taken an easy program. Class point int x comma y public point x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0. Point int a int b. X is equal to a semicolon, y is equal to b semicolon. Then if you want to display, you can take display function void disp, cout x y class close void main. So I'll create object point p1. So which constructor will execute? Default constructor. This class having 2 constructors, one is default, another one is parameterized. Here 0 arguments, here 2 arguments. Both constructor name is same and they have different number of arguments. So it demonstrates constructor overloading. Point p2, I'll pass arguments here 2, 3. So for this object creation, which constructor will execute? This constructor, this parameterized constructor will be executed. So p1 dot disp, p2 dot disp. So this is the example for constructor overloading. At the end of the program, what you need to write? In the above program, a class having 2 constructors with different number of arguments, one is default constructor, that is 0 arguments. Another one is parameterized constructor, having 2 arguments. For the object creation, the object P1, default constructor must be there. constructor, or you can write like this. For P1, for the object P1, default constructor must be defined, and for the object P2, parameterized constructor must be defined. If any one of these is not there, not defined, program will not execute properly. Therefore, both constructors are required. In this way, you have to write the explanation about the program. Understood? Next. What are the situations where copy constructor invoke? Fifth one. What are the situations where copy constructor will be invoked? We already discussed this in the copy constructor features and where copy constructors execute. I'll tell the points. Already I had written point there. The same points you need to write. First, copy constructor will not invoke explicitly. That is the first point. And second point, when we are going to copy, or one object is copied with the values of another object, if we pass that object as an argument to that constructor, then also copy constructor will execute. That is point P1 of 2, point P2 of P1. This is. So we are going to copy the value of one object to another object by passing this object as a parameter to this constructor. So this is copy constructor, this is parameterized constructor. This is invocation of parameterized, and this is invocation of copy constructor. For these two constructors, there must be a function definition, a constructor definition within the class. What would be the constructor definition for this object? Point int a. If you assume the data member class point int x is equal to a. For this point p, x is equal to p dot x. Understood? So it must be in a public section. For this object, so what you have to observe, when copy constructor executes, when we want to copy a value, initial value of one object to another object by passing that object as an argument to this constructor. Okay, this is then copy constructor will execute. And another thing, so to copy a values of one object to another object, if we initialize the existing object with the help of assignment operator like this, point P1 of 2 point, we already discussed this, P2 is equal to P1. So which constructor will execute now? Parameterized constructor. This constructor will execute. For this object, for this constructor, this copy constructor will invoked. So whenever you are going to pass, we are going to initialize values of one object to another object by the method of using assignment operator, initialization method. This is initialization method. Then copy constructor will invoke. And another thing, when objects are passed as a function argument, there is a copy constructor will execute automatically. We did not write any constructor there. So in such situation also copy constructor will invoke. When objects are returned as function return value, then also copy constructor execute. I already given the example, complex number, addition of two complex number. For fourth point, say explicit call. First point is copy constructor will not execute explicitly. Second point, this point. Third one, this. And fourth, when objects are passed as a function argument, then copy constructor will invoke. For that we have taken a complex number, addition of two complex number. So you need to write the definition and in function call, and function object as function return value. The same example you can modify. Instead of displaying the resultant complex number from the function definition, you have to return the result, return that object to main function. From main function you can display. So these examples I already discussed. I have already given the points and along with the example once you go through that. Next question. What are the features? Write any 5 features of parameterized constructor. 5 features. 5 features of parameterized constructor. What are the features? First thing, parameterized constructor takes one or more arguments. Second, a class can have more than one parameterized constructor. Third point, in a class we can define, okay, that's over. We can overload parameterized constructor. We can call parameterized constructor in 3 ways: implicit call, explicit call, and initialization using assignment operator. Okay, so these are the features of parameterized constructor. And one more, using parameterized constructor we can initialize different values for different objects. These 5 points you need to write for this question. Next, write the difference between constructors and destructors. Constructors and destructors. 5 difference you need to write. First thing, constructors get invoked automatically when objects are created. Destructors get invoked automatically when objects are going to destroy. Then constructor name is same as class name, whereas destructor name, it is also same as class name but preceded with a tilde operator. You must write this point, otherwise it is not a difference. Name of the constructor and name of the destructor both are same as class name, but the difference is destructor name is preceded with tilde operator. And third point, a class can have more than one constructor, whereas destructors, only one destructors in a class. We should define only one destructor. A constructor can take one or more arguments, destructor cannot take any argument. Okay, so that by knowing these 2 points, we can say constructors can be overloaded, because a class having more than one constructor and a constructor can take one or more arguments, so that we can overload it. Destructor, we cannot overload the destructor. These 5 points you need to write for the differences. Understood? Let us discuss some programs based on constructors: default constructor, parameterized constructor, and copy constructor. C++ program to calculate NCR. Using constructor. So formula is n factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r factorial. Header file, class, I'll take name of the class fact. User has to input n value and r value. Int n, comma r, public, and to store result we need variables f. See, there must be a function. That function has to calculate factorial. Okay, so I'll leave as it is now. I'll write the main function here. Based on n value and r value, isn't it? So I have to call for a function. It has to give the factorial of a number. If you pass n factorial. If it is r factorial. If it is n minus r factorial. Okay. From main function I'll take void main. Instead of taking n and r, I'll take here itself. Fact f int n, comma r. Cout, enter n value. Cin extraction n. Cout, enter r value. Now we must define a function. Its job is to give the factorial of a given integer. So I'll take data members f1, f2 and f3, and I'll initialize here fact f1 is equal to 0 because I'll pass n first to this function, to this constructor. Sorry, further we'll define function to find the factorial. To that function I'll pass n. That function has to calculate a factorial of n. Okay, and that result is stored in f1, and factorial of r, that result has to store in f2. Factorial of n minus r goes to f3. Like that I had taken f1, f2, f3. Now function, I'll take cal as a function. See, this function having looping statement, so I'll define outside the class void cal. Right now I write void cal, later I'll modify that according to the requirement. What would be the data return type specifier, we'll see. How to define member function outside the class. Return type specifier void, class name fact, scope resolution operator, and name of the function. What is the function name here? Cal is the function name, semicolon. So what is the code here? We already discussed this. Int I for I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to, So I must pass an argument here. Which factorial you want? I want to calculate n factorial. So I have to call f dot cal of n. So now I am passing argument n. N which type? Integer type. So I must declare int a here. So I'll write a. Here I must change the data type. I must write int. Before I left empty parenthesis. Now I am passing argument. So I must write its data type. After calculation, let us see what happened. I plus plus. So I'll store the factorial of n in which variable? F1 variable. So I'll take F1. I have already initialized. F1 is equal to F1 into I. Okay. Close. Return F1. So I'll return value to this function. Which kind of value are you returning here? Integer type. To store that, I'll take integer variable here. Here I'll take F1 also. F1 is equal to, F1 contains the factorial of n. I'll take object name ft. To avoid confusion, I'll take ft is an object name. F1 is a variable. F1 is equal to ft dot cal of n. So what is the return type specifier now? Int is the return type specifier. Here also I have to modify int. Now, so when we call this function, which value will be written? N factorial will be written. So whenever we create object, there is a memory, no? For ft, there is a memory. What are the data members? F1, F2 and F3. Right now, what is the value of F1? So what is the factorial of n? If factorial n is 5, factorial of n is 120. F1 is 120. That 120 will be written here. This F1 is different from this F1. So this is local variable, local to this function. So now here I am writing F1. I'll take some more variables here, F2 and F3. One more I required, FR, result, semicolon. F2, F3, these are normal variables. These are normal integer variables we have declared in the main function. And one more FR is there, no? F1, F2, F3, FR. They are all integer type variables. When this function returns result, to hold that result, we have taken these variables. First, I call this function with the help of this object and I am passing argument n. I need n factorial now, so I am passing n. The job of this function is to calculate the given values factorial. What is the argument here? N. If n is equal to 5, n copied to a. So this function is calculating the factorial of 5. The factorial of 5 is stored in F1. After that, it returns a value to this function, main function. Then the value will be stored in F1, 120. That 120 goes to F1. Now, another thing, the formula is n factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r factorial, right? I am passing n minus r now. Ft dot cal of n minus r, or directly I can write n minus r. If you consider r value is 2, okay. n, what is the value of n? 5 minus 2, 3. So program this function has to calculate factorial of 3. Now what value, which value is going here? 3. A is 3 now. So program, if this function has to calculate factorial of 3. What is the factorial of 3? 3 2s are 6, 6 1s are 6. 6 is the factorial. So that factorial, so here I will take only one variable. We can manage within one variable itself. It's not required here. F1 is enough. Right now, F1 is 1. Again we execute. Again, what is the value of F1? See, when we call this function, sorry, F1 has become, initially I have given F1 is 1. Now for every time I will give F1 is equal to 1. Again it resets the value. F1 is 1. Okay. After that F1 is equal to 1. Next, Ft dot cal of n minus r. Again F1 is 1. So right now it calculates, then it returns the result. That result goes to F2. Then F3 is equal to Ft dot cal of r. Finally Fr is equal to n factorial is stored in F1 divided by n minus r, that is stored in F2 into n factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r factorial star F3 semicolon. Finally you can display Cout Fr. Okay, answer is in Fr. See, in this program it is not compulsory here, because already we have taken F1, F is equal to 1 here, but in the program statement NCR using constructor, so I have taken F1 is equal to 1 at the beginning. When we create object, at that moment this constructor will execute, and later for next function call, the first time this function call overwrites this value, again remaining also overwritten by this value. Okay, so for this program it is not required, it is not necessary. Still in the question they had asked constructor, using constructor, that's why I had taken F1 is equal to 1. Okay. C++ program to find sum of array elements, 1D array elements. So first user has to declare array. For that array user has to input values, elements. Later a function has to calculate sum of those elements. So using constructor we have to do, using constructor. Class array, I'll take name of the class as array. First we required array, that's why I have to declare array. In public section, in private section I have taken int a of 20, randomly I will take 20. and n, how many elements, among 20 memory locations, how many memory locations you are going to use, you are going to give values, and I'll take local variable I and sum. Public. See, what is the logic here? When we declare array, there is a memory allocation. When memory gets allocated for these data members, when objects are created, object create admele memory allocate agutte. Right now I am showing how would be the memory allocation. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 19. 0 to 19 total 20 memory locations. Each memory location is 2 byte. Now let us assume 8, 5, 11, 15, 20 are the elements. I have taken n is equal to 5. So among 20 memory locations, I am using 5 memory locations 0 to 4, and I have inserted values for these memory locations. Now the thing is, we have to add, the program has to add these elements and it has to give the result. The first thing, a of 0 has to add it with a of 1. Next, the result of those two will be added to the next location. The first location element and second location element must be added. This is one addend, this is second addend. First addend has to add it with a number and it has to gives 8 only. What is that another addend? 8 is one addend. I am searching another addend. When we add these two addends, it results 8 itself. So what is that? 0. So first 0 has to add it with another addend, that is 0. 8 is added with the 0, 8, and that result is the addend for this addend. 8 plus 5, 13. 13 is the result. That result will be the addend for this. Okay, 11 plus 13, like that it has to add. So we must have an initialization here. Yes, I have taken a variable yes. This is meant for storing result. I'll take constructor array. Yes is equal to 0. Then void input. So these functions will have looping statements. So I'll define outside the class. Void cal void disp. Disp I can define within the class definition because it display only the sum. Cout sum is equal to yes, answer is in yes. Class close. This class having a constructor and 3 member functions. Among these 3 member functions, I am going to define these 2 member functions outside the class because these 2 will have looping statements, and display function having only one statement, so I defined inside the class so that it can expanded as inline function. Next, let us define one by one. You all know the rules to define member function outside the class. What is the rule? Return type specifier, class name. What is the class name? Array. Scope resolution operator, function name input. Cout. Let us ask, a program has to ask how many elements you are going to input. Enter number of elements. How many elements? Cin extraction n. Okay. Next, after getting a value for n, let us input values, those n values into array. Cout enter n elements into array. For I is equal to, I have taken I as a data member here, 0, I less than n, I plus plus, C in extraction A of I. Then function close. Next, void array scope resolution cal. First I'll write main function here, void main. So when we create object, then memory will allocate array, name of object I'll take AR. So which function we have to call first? Input function. When we create object, there is a memory allocation for that object, and also the memory gets allocated for these data members. So AR is there, no? AR is a memory. This memory location having data members. What are the data members? Array A, that is integer array. Total 20 memory locations, 0 to 19. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next n is an integer normal variable, 2 bytes of memory. I is also a normal variable, basic type. Yes. Soon after creating object, which function will invoke? Constructor. So s is equal to 0. We are not calling that function explicitly. When we create object, it gets called automatically. After that, which function I should call? Input function. AR dot input. Open close. So when we call this function, input function will invoke. Enter number of elements. How many elements you want to input? 5. I'll take 5. After that, enter 5 elements into array. So it will be displayed on screen. Now I is equal to 0. So 5 times this loop will be executed. Let us assume values are like this: 2, 4, 8, 10, 20. After that, it terminates the terminates the function, and it returns to main function. Next, I want to calculate cal. So what is the logic here? The A of 0 value has to add it with the sum, and result has to store in sum. How? A of 0, where I have to write here. Okay. A of 0. First, A of 0 has to add it with yes. So when after addition we'll get a result, we'll get a sum. That sum has to store again in s. How to write? S is equal to A of 0 plus S, or we can write like this, no? S is equal to S plus A of 0. A of 0 plus S and S plus A of 0 both are same. A plus B is equal to B plus A. Now next time S is equal to S plus A of 1. Every time we have to access every location value. First A of 0 value, next A of 1, then A of 2, A of 3, A of 4. Like that the values are accessed here. At first, what is the value of S? 0. So 0 plus A of 0. What is there in A of 0? So the 0 means, I means index, A of 0. A of 0 means 2. 0 plus 2. 2. Sum is 2 now. So next time I have to get the value of S. S is 2 now. 2 plus A of 1. What is there in A of 1? 4. 2 plus 4, 6. 6 will be stored in S. Next thing, S plus is equal to S plus A of 2. I have already taken A of 0 value, A of 1 value. Now I move to A of 2. What is there in A of 2? 8 is there. 8 plus 6. Previous value of S is 6. 6 plus 8, 14. Now 14 is stored in S. Next, which location I have to access? A of 3. So S is equal to S plus A of 3. What is there in A of 3? 10 is there. Previous value of S 14. 14 plus 10, 24. 24 will be stored in S. Now I have to go for next location, that is fourth location, A of 4. What is that? 20 is there. S is equal to S plus A of 4. 20 plus 24, 44. 44 is stored in S. So the loop has to stop at this location. It should not go further. The fifth location, there is no element. Already I completed all elements. 5 elements are over. At this, when control comes to this line, this location, it has to terminate the loop. So let us write loop for these statements. Instead of writing these many instructions, I can make use of looping statements. And I know how many iterations are there, so that I can choose for loop. If you know the number of iterations before, then we can go for loop. For I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, yes is common, yes, we can write assignment operator, yes plus a parenthesis, square brackets, everything is common. Only the varying thing is indices, isn't it? 0, 1, 2, 3. Who represents the index here? I is representing the index. So instead of writing 0, 1, I can write I here. Finally, answer is in yes. So using display function, we are displaying. So whatever the order, function definition order, you don't bother about this. You must call in the proper order. Okay. Now AR dot disp, open close semicolon, get ch, close. So in this program, we have taken a data member yes, and I initialized this data member using constructor. This is the concept here. Understood? I hope you all understood this chapter, constructors and destructors. What are the subtopics comes under this chapter? So from the next class, I'll come up with a new chapter, that is inheritance. Thank you.